Chosen one, this message didn't find you by accident. God led you here intentionally, prophetically, and right on time. Your spirit has outgrown where you are. And whether you realize it or not, heaven is orchestrating a shift, not just in your circumstances, but in your location, your atmosphere, and your assignment. You've been feeling the inner stirring, the divine discomfort, the quiet knowing that something is about to change. That's not your imagination. That's confirmation. God is moving you to a land that matches your anointing, a place where what He's put inside of you can breathe, flourish, and multiply. This message will break it down into 7 powerful chapters. Listen closely, because each part reveals why your next destination is not just physical, it's prophetic. Before we dive deep, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Because this message isn't just content, it's a divine confirmation. God is preparing to relocate you, not just physically, but spiritually, into the land that matches your anointing. This word is your signal, your instruction before the shift. If your spirit feels this frequency, type 77 in the comments right now. That number isn't random. It's a sacred code, a prophetic agreement that says, I'm aligned. I'm awake. And I'm ready for the land God has prepared for me. Not everyone will finish this message. Only those who are truly chosen to cross over. But those who do will gain insight, direction, and fresh confidence to walk boldly into their next territory. This isn't something you watch once. It's a living message, one you'll need to revisit as God unfolds more pieces of the map. And each time you return, something new will unlock, because the land you're being sent to is holy, heavy, and already waiting for your arrival. Let's begin. Chapter 1, The Anointing Requires Alignment. Chosen one, your anointing is not casual. It's calculated and consecrated. Heaven didn't randomly assign you a gift or place oil on your life by accident. What you carry is rare, weighty, and spiritually costly. God poured something on you that generations before you longed to hold. You are the carrier of a divine frequency, a sacred vibration that only heaven could release. But here's the truth, not every environment can sustain the oil you carry. Not every atmosphere has the capacity to nourish your calling. Just as Jesus couldn't perform many miracles in his hometown because of their unbelief, your gift cannot flourish in places filled with spiritual drought, dishonor, and disbelief. Sometimes it's not your capacity that's the problem, it's your context. This is why the anointing requires alignment. Not just alignment with God's will, but alignment with where He's sending you. The anointing on your life cannot be maximized in contaminated atmospheres. When your gift is placed in the wrong soil, it begins to shrink, suffocate, or feel misunderstood. But when it's planted in the right land, where honor, faith, and purity flow, it multiplies, heals, and transforms everything it touches. The resistance you've been feeling in certain places isn't always the enemy. Sometimes it's God's way of signaling, this season is over. This territory no longer matches the oil I placed within you. That tension you feel. It's not rejection. It's redirection. It's God pulling you out of expired spaces before they corrupt your expansion. You're not being punished. You're being preserved. God is protecting the purity of your anointing by refusing to let you stay where you're no longer being fed, seen, or stretched. You've outgrown atmospheres that once served you, not because you're proud, but because you're prepared. The spiritual season has changed, even if the scenery hasn't yet. Some relationships, jobs, cities, and spaces feel heavy now. Not because something's wrong with you, but because they're no longer aligned with your assignment. And if you force yourself to stay where the Spirit has already lifted, you'll begin to leak oil, trying to carry people and places that were never meant to go with you. Your anointing demands more. Not more applause. Not more fame. But more alignment, with God's will, with divine timing, and with heaven-approved territory. Don't settle for comfort where there is no confirmation. Don't stay loyal to environments that dishonor your growth. The anointing on your life requires you to go where your oil is respected, where your spirit is refreshed, and where your assignment is recognized. You've carried your gift long enough in spaces that made you question it. But now, God is calling you higher. He's moving you into alignment with a land that doesn't just tolerate you, it will activate you. Your environment must match your oil. The weight of your calling demands a place of alignment, not attachment. And this time, you're not going to shrink to fit the space. This time, the space will stretch to fit your anointing. Chapter 2, The land you're leaving can't hold your next level. Chosen one, it's time to be honest with yourself. Not everything that started with you can go with you. You've tried to adapt. You've tried to lower your light to keep others comfortable. You've told yourself to be patient, to wait it out, to make the most of it. But your soul knows. Your spirit knows. This land, this situation, this environment, it no longer fits the version of you God is calling forward. What once nurtured you is now limiting you. What once felt like protection now feels like restriction. It's not that you've outgrown people, you've outgrown the spiritual patterns that used to define you. And that's a sign that elevation is near. The land you're leaving played its role. It trained you, tested you, and revealed to you the weight of your calling. It was a season, not a sentence, a place of development, not a place of destiny. But now the grace for that space is lifting. The oil for that assignment is shifting. And you can feel it, emotionally, spiritually, even physically. The things that used to satisfy you no longer do. The conversations feel shallow. The routines feel lifeless. The room feels too small. That's because God is preparing to launch you. Remember what God told Abraham. Go to the land I will show you. God didn't give him a full address. He gave him a direction. That's all he needed. And that's all you need. You may not have all the details, but you've been given the instruction. You're being called to leave what's familiar and follow what's fruitful. This is why the pressure has increased. Why the doors keep closing. Why you feel the urgency to move but don't have the natural explanation. It's because heaven has already shifted your coordinates. You're standing in a place your spirit has already left. You're physically present, but spiritually displaced. And that creates inner tension that won't go away until you move in obedience. You were not designed to stay small. You were not chosen to stay stuck. You were not anointed just to survive a place you've already conquered. What God placed in you is expanding. And the land you're currently in cannot support that expansion. If you stay too long, you risk becoming stagnant, spiritually suffocated by a space that no longer has your next in it. Yes, it was once the right place. But it's no longer your place. It helped you grow. But now, it holds you back. And when God begins to grow you beyond the boundaries of your surroundings, that's your sign. It's time to go, not out of frustration, but with faith. Not in panic, but with purpose. Don't wait for the land to reject you before you release it. Don't wait for everything to fall apart before you finally follow the voice of God. The longer you delay, the heavier the spiritual weight becomes. But the moment you move, acceleration begins. Provision flows. Destiny unfolds. This is not just a transition. It's a transfer, a movement of your spirit into territory that will honor, sustain, and multiply what God has placed within you. This next land won't ask you to shrink. It will require your full expression. It will welcome your anointing and draw out your next level. So, stop apologizing for evolving. Stop trying to force a fit where the Spirit no longer flows. You've been faithful where you were. Now it's time to be faithful to where you're going. The land you're leaving cannot hold your next level. It's time to move into the place that was built for your becoming. Chapter 3, Destiny has a zip code. Chosen one, your destiny is not just a calling, it's a placement. Every purpose has a place. Every assignment has an atmosphere. When God spoke to the Israelites about the promised land, he wasn't speaking in metaphors. He gave them boundaries. He marked borders. He detailed the territory. That land flowing with milk and honey was not symbolic. It was specific. It had rivers, cities, climates, and culture. It was an environment prepared for their arrival before they were ever delivered. The same is true for you. Your next level doesn't just exist in a spiritual dimension. It's tied to a physical place. There is a zip code, a region, a realm where what God has placed inside of you will not only be welcomed but watered. A place where your name will be recognized in the spirit realm. A place where your gift will no longer feel heavy, hidden, or misunderstood. There is land that has been assigned to you, land that will respond to your obedience like soil responds to rain. The favor of God is not limited to one location, but your fullness requires the Jerida one. Some territories are too small for your vision. Some atmospheres are too dry for your oil. And some regions are spiritually incompatible with your frequency. That's why nothing seemed to work. That's why your potential felt capped. You were in a land that couldn't read your assignment. When God sends you, He doesn't just send your feet, He sends your favor ahead of you. There are people waiting for you in your next place. There are divine appointments, unexpected alignments, and supernatural openings that only exist when you are in position. Some things won't unlock until your spirit and your location are in sync. Being in the wrong place can delay the right promise. But being in the right place, even without credentials, recognition, or support, can accelerate everything God said about you. The right place doesn't need to be glamorous. It just needs to be God-ordained. When Joseph was in the prison, he had the gift but not the placement. But when God shifted him into Pharaoh's court, the gift met the right atmosphere. In that moment, everything changed. Likewise, you are carrying something that is waiting to be received by the right region. You are not just a gift to people. You are a gift to places. Don't underestimate the prophetic power of where you are. What didn't work in one land will flourish in the next because the land itself carries your prophetic signature. There are territories where your name has already been whispered in boardrooms and prayer rooms. There are gates that will open not because of your effort but because heaven already registered your arrival. Sometimes breakthrough doesn't come because you prayed harder, but because you moved where your prayers could breathe. Sometimes favor doesn't fall because you asked, but because you finally stepped into the place where it had been stored for you. You don't need everyone to understand why you're relocating. You only need to follow the cloud, the fire, the signal from heaven that says, "This is the way. Walk in it." Destiny isn't just spiritual. It's strategic. And where you are now is not where your full harvest lives. Because destiny has a zip code, and heaven is aligning you with it, one step at a time. Chapter 4. What you carry demands new territory. Chosen one. What you carry is too sacred, too weighty, and too powerful to stay boxed in by limited spaces, shallow conversations, and places that don't recognize the fire inside you. You weren't called to live a small life. You weren't chosen just to survive. You were chosen to transform atmospheres. What's inside of you is not ordinary. It's generational. It's prophetic. It's disruptive in the best way. And because of that, God is shifting you into new territory that matches what He placed within you. Your gifts, ideas, insight, creativity, wisdom, leadership, and anointing, they were never meant to be confined by old systems, comfort zones, or people who only knew the outdated version of you. You've been trying to make it work in environments that no longer have the spiritual infrastructure to hold the weight of your becoming. It's not rebellion. It's revelation. Your spirit knows there's more. And heaven is responding by preparing a land that will not only recognize your capacity but draw it out. The old place fed your survival. It taught you how to pray. It taught you how to stand when all else was shaking. It built your resilience and your endurance. But now, God is moving you from survival to purpose, from being hidden to being positioned. The land you're headed to won't just shelter your gift, it will activate it. It will call it forth. It will stretch you without breaking you, challenge you without crushing you, and honor what the previous place only tolerated. You're not just going to a new location. You're stepping into a new realm of divine responsibility. The place you're moving to won't require you to prove yourself. Your presence will speak. Your name will go before you, not because of your brand or your followers, but because of the weight of your obedience. Divine positioning does what human connections can't. When God opens a door, no one can shut it. And when He plants you in the right place, even strangers will favor you. Sometimes God delays certain breakthroughs, not because you weren't ready, but because the wasteland wasn't. It had to be tilled. Certain people had to be removed. Systems had to shift. Territory had to be broken open in the spirit before your feet could touch it in the natural. But now, both the vessel and the land are ready. Your development and the soil have been synchronized by heaven. The timing is no longer pending. It's perfect. Don't be surprised when people start asking where this version of you came from. Don't be shocked when new doors open with little effort. The truth is, the territory is finally in alignment with the weight of your calling. You're not arrogant. You're aware. You're not entitled. You're entrusted. And God is placing you where your spirit can expand without compromise. This next territory is not just about elevation. It's about assignment fulfillment. It's about occupying what was written about you long before you arrived. This is the land where your voice will echo. Your prayers will pierce. And your presence will carry power that brings alignment and breakthrough. Get ready, because what you carry can no longer be hidden. It was never meant to stay buried under fear, doubt, or the expectations of others. It's time for it to be seen, heard, and used by God in a place prepared just for it. Chapter 5. The new land matches your spiritual frequency. Chosen one. Have you ever wondered why certain places drain you while others awaken something deep within your soul? Why some rooms feel heavy and stagnant while others feel like oxygen to your spirit? That isn't random. That's spiritual resonance. That's alignment at a soul level. Your spirit isn't just reacting to your surroundings. It's discerning frequency. It's picking up whether the land you're in carries the same divine code that was written into your destiny. Where you've been may have served a purpose, but it no longer speaks the same language as your spirit. And you're not crazy for feeling out of place. You're simply tuned in. You've been upgraded spiritually. And now the old soil no longer responds to your roots. You're growing in revelation, insight, and sensitivity. That's why God is moving you to a place that matches not your past, not your pain, but your power. There is a land, a region, a space, natural and spiritual, that has been encoded with your frequency. When you arrive there, everything starts to click. You breathe deeper. You think clearer. Your creativity flows freely. Your discernment sharpens. You no longer feel like you're pushing uphill. Instead, things begin to align. Not because they're easy, but because they're finally right. This new land won't require you to convince others of your value. You won't have to shout to be heard or shrink to be accepted. You'll simply be, and that will be enough. Because this land was made with you in mind. It was shaped by God to match the very rhythm of your assignment. It doesn't just tolerate your voice, it pulls it forth. It doesn't just hold your potential, it activates it. In the old land, you were surviving. In the new land, you'll be surging. Because where there is frequency alignment, there is fruitfulness. Doors open without force. Resources flow without begging. Divine connections form without manipulation. Because everything in the land is speaking the same spiritual language you carry inside. This is more than just a move. This is a recalibration of your destiny. A spiritual relocation that puts you in harmony with heaven's timeline for your life. You're not just changing addresses. You're shifting You're stepping into a zone where the supernatural becomes normal, where your spirit thrives without friction, and where your soul rests in divine confirmation. This is why some of you felt uncomfortable where you were. The friction wasn't failure. It was frequency mismatch. And God loved you too much to let you stay stuck in a place that no longer had the vibration to carry your voice, your oil, or your calling. You're being planted in soil that will recognize your roots. You're being surrounded by people who will mirror your growth. You're being positioned in places that honor your frequency, not fight it. The new land has been waiting for you. And now you're being sent to where your spirit can finally sing in sync with the sound of your assignment. This is more than relocation. This is divine recalibration. And everything is about to change. Chapter 6. You won't have to force what's been prepared. Chosen one. You're stepping into a new dimension where effort will no longer equal exhaustion. In the old place, everything felt like a fight. You had to force favor. You had to beg for belonging. You had to stretch yourself thin just to feel seen, supported, and stable. It seemed like nothing came easy. Every inch of progress felt like a battle. But hear this clearly, the struggle was part of the preparation, not the pattern where God is taking you. You won't have to force what's already been formed for you. The land you're entering is not being created on demand. It's already prepared in divine timing. The ground has been tilled. The spiritual climate has been shifted. The people assigned to your next are already being stirred. You're not walking into chaos. You're stepping into orchestrated alignment. This is the season where your name will be mentioned in rooms you've never entered. Your gift will be welcomed in places you never applied. Not because you've marketed yourself, but because heaven has marked you. The struggle to prove, to perform, to push your way into places that didn't even deserve you, that's over. Now the grace will go before you. God is taking the grind out of your growth. The new land doesn't need to be convinced of your worth. It already recognizes you. The land has been waiting for someone like you to walk in, someone who carries purity, authority, and truth. The soil knows your sound. The doors know your knock. The divine connections know your timing. You won't have to wrestle to be welcomed because your presence was pre-written into its structure. This is what it looks like when God does the positioning. When He moves you, He doesn't just relocate you physically. He relocates favor, influence, opportunity, and provision ahead of you. You're not walking in blind. You're walking into a divinely set table. Yes, there will still be responsibility. Yes, there will still be stretching. But you won't be forcing what's already flowing. You won't be performing to be chosen, because you've already been appointed. And where you are appointed, there is ease in the entry. There is fruit without force. There is rest without stagnation. The doors that open in this season won't require you to twist yourself out of shape just to fit in. They will open because your spirit fits the space. Because your heart, your gift, your calling, all of it has been factored into this new land's design. And where purpose meets preparation, favor flows like water. No more forcing, no more begging, no more pretending. You're walking into territory that was made for you. And you were made for it. The favor, the finances, the friendships, the faith connections, they're already in place. You don't have to build from scratch. You just have to step in with obedience. Because when God shifts you, He doesn't just move you into a new place, He moves the place into readiness for you. And when the prepared vessel meets the prepared land, destiny explodes. Chapter 7. This move isn't just physical. It's prophetic. Chosen one. This isn't just about packing bags or changing your address. This isn't just about switching cities or crossing into a new region. What's happening in your life right now is far, and now God is saying, this is it. The land is part of the promise. The move is part of the mantle. The change is part of your calling. You are not being relocated. You are being released into the next phase of your destiny. What's ahead of you is not chaos, it's calculated glory. There are promises waiting to be unlocked the moment your feet touch the soil. There are people already sensing your arrival in the spirit. There are doors waiting for the sound of your voice. Heaven has made the announcement, and earth is about to respond.